What's going on, guys? Pete Nova here with the Face Off Sports Network. I am back today. We have an earlier show with a London game kicking off in just about an hour. Joined by my man Matt Robinson from the FF Mediators, and we're going to go over your start sit questions, betting questions, whatever you have. Feel free to send it in the chat as usual. It's been I don't know. Man, I don't know the last time I did a Sunday morning show. I've had a lot going on, but happy to be back, Matt. Hopefully we get a good amount of questions here. We get rolling and have a good week.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about. Week 7, it's starting to hit that crunch time. It's time to start getting ready for making those playoff pushes and trying to set up these fantasy lineups as best we can. So throw the questions in the chat. If you want to skip the line, throw a super chat. We'll hit those questions, of course, but we'll answer as many as we can.
Absolutely. Well, we already have a decent amount of questions that are coming in. So let's just get right into it. Justin Oliver over on X said Trevor Lawrence, Jacoby Brissett, or Spencer Rattler. So you have Lawrence playing in London. Brissett was named the starter. He's going up against the Packers, though. I'm not overly excited to start Brissett. I have him at 25. I have Rattler at 22. I have Trevor Lawrence at 16. I'll start Lawrence there. It's a tough matchup for Lawrence, but I'd much rather play him with his legs than the other two guys here in this matchup.
Yeah, I think our rankings are pretty close. I mean, I have Lawrence the highest as well. He's 17 for me. You mentioned the legs. That's kind of the separator for me.
Yeah, and the weather, I don't know how it's going to hold up for Chicago, but I know it's been raining since yesterday. It's supposed to clear up by game time, but then I also read that there's a good chance there's going to be a lot of wind and stuff too, and so we'll see. Appreciate you coming in, Trevor. Amazing Amazon Pancake said half-point PPR. Would you start Bourne, Trevion Henderson, or Addison in the flex? I'm already starting Mason at my RB2. So, I think this could be the spot where Henderson finally has a good week, and I know we've been saying it for a while, but game script aside, like I think there's a world where they get him going. Bourne has looked good. It's a half-point PPR. I would prefer Bourne much more in PPR formats. I honestly think I like Addison, possibly too, but you're already starting Mason, so and I think. Quinion Mitchell's back. So I'm going to go with the hot player in Kendrick Bourne over Addison and Henderson. I do like Addison, but just because you're starting Mason, I would rather go with Bourne. I feel like you're banking a lot on that offense. And with Wentz there, we'll see how it goes. But I think that's where I lean is Bourne. What about yourself, Matt?
I'm the same way. If this wasn't a Carson Wentz-led offense, then I'd be more inclined to start Addison. But there's a world where they get shut down by the Eagles and do absolutely nothing, and then you're left with two guys who kind of had dud weeks for you. So I would go with Bourne as well. I think that's the safer play and probably the best pick out of this group.
Yeah, I have Addison at 32. I have Bourne at 34. But again, I would go Addison if you didn't have Mason. That's kind of where I'm feeling that. Andrea said, would it be crazy to start Bam Knight over Chuba? He said China, but he meant Chuba. I don't think it's crazy. If you're hoping for a larger workload, I think I'm still going with Chuba Hubbard though, in that matchup. But I don't think it's crazy. I think it's a coin flip, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, I would play Chuba as well. I mean, the offensive line for the Panthers is good, and maybe you just hope that Rico in this run game continue to perform, and he just gets an opportunity at the goal line, to be honest.
Yeah. Jared Fortin said, pick one PPR, Vidal versus the Colts, Cup versus the Texans, Chris Moore versus Dallas, Henderson versus the Titans, and Waddle, Browns, Jennings versus Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, Waddle's a tough one. I just don't want to get stuck playing him. The Browns defense has been very, very susceptible to giving up points to opposing wide receivers, which makes me consider Waddle. I mean, he's had 8 targets in back-to-back weeks without Hill. But the weather in that game looks really, really rough. I still think I start him. Honestly, I still think I start him though.
Yeah, I would play Waddle. I mean, he's my 21st wide receiver, I think, on the week. The one name that has me kind of, if I needed a safe play, I'd probably go with Vidal, just
Yeah.
because volume in the offense is coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that workload is closer to a 50-50 split today with Vidal
Haskins.
and Haskins too. I don't think just because Vidal had a big game that he's now etched in to be the guy.
No, not at
Um,
all.
especially with the history with him and Harbaugh. Lamont Pace said Fields or Darnold, Golden or Myers, full PPR. So Vegas has the Jets at 20.5 on their team total. To me, without Garrett Wilson, that just means that they must think that Justin Fields is going to do a lot with his legs. It's sketchy, but I have Fields at 13. I have Darnold at 14. I would start Fields over Darnold. Darnold's getting a tough matchup versus Houston. Um, I feel kind of gross. Darnold feels like a safer play because he's just been so good, but Fields is an upside play with we know the risk, but he's playing against a Carolina defense that's not very good. Vegas for some reason thinks there's going to be points in this game for the Jets. Maybe it's all Brees Hall, but I'll go with Fields and I would start Myers if he's playing.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Fields over Darnold. It's just the upside. I mean, Darnold's the safer play. You mentioned that, but Fields is the guy that could score you 25, 30 points pretty easily against this Carolina Panthers defense. Absolutely with you on Myers over Golden too. I do think Golden's a better play than I think we're giving him credit. He's played well the last couple weeks, so I think he's going to continue to get worked into this offense and hopefully assume that wide receiver one role.
Yeah, I have Golden. I have Myers at 35. I have Matthew Golden like just around where he's at. My rankings actually have Golden at 29 ahead of Myers, but I dropped Myers down just assuming he wasn't going to play. I still prefer Myers, but it's close. I'd rather play Myers over Keenan Allen. I'd rather play Myers over Golden. I'd rather play him over Devonta Smith. But they're like right there in my rankings next to each other. Let's see, Mark, drop Hunter or Jennings for Emmanuel Wilson. Assuming Jacobs can't go, I have Kenneth Walker as my RB2 right now. This is tough. It's tough because to me, we know Jennings is going to have a role in this offense, but Ayuk's coming back, Pearsall eventually coming back. I think it matters like what wide receiver is this for you. If we're talking, hey, Jennings is going to be your wide receiver 2 or like your wide receiver 3 in a 3 wide receiver league, I would go with Jennings. If we're talking this guy is going to be your 4th or 5th guy on your team, I would go with Hunter just for the upside there. Do you feel the same about that?
Yeah, I think it's so team dependent to answer this question, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I think you're spot on.
Speaking of Emmanuel Wilson, what time is that an early game? Is that a 1 o'clock?
They play at 3:25
3:25. Okay, so
because
it's a
they're
four
in
o'clock.
Arizona.
Yeah, so it's a 4 o'clock for me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I didn't think Emmanuel Wilson would be available in this one league that I have. I was trying to. I have one open spot on my bench, and I could drop Joe Mixon. Um, I just got Joe Mixon in a trade as a throw-in. I didn't even want him, but I would never have drafted him this year. But I gotta I'm trying to dump him off. If I can get anything, that'd be great. But I'm probably just gonna drop him. Albert's in the house. What's up, Albert? Good to see you, man. William said T Mac or Marvin Harrison half PPR. Yeah, I'm gonna go with T Mac. I mean, the consistent volume is there. I do think there's some value in Marv playing, with Jacoby Brissett instead of playing, with Kyler Murray. But I'm gonna go with T Mac in that matchup. I think the volume has been consistent. I know Coker's coming back, but I'll go with Ted McMillan there.
100%. This is an easy T Mac. I mean, I do think that Jacoby kind of provides a safer passing floor for this Cardinals offense. Doesn't mean he's better than Kyler. It's just he's a better pocket passer, and that's just a fact, in my opinion. But that being said, it's hard to not play T Mac. I don't know how you can put him on the bench. I get he had his best game, and it was his lowest yardage, but he's just the alpha there in Carolina.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Jack Besh? Are you like considering picking him up anywhere? Are you considering? I mean, I don't
No,
think I would consider putting him in my lineup, of course, but are you considering, picking him up anywhere at all?
to be honest, no. I mean, he's not done literally anything. I mean, I was looking at it last night because I actually traded him away in a dynasty league.
Yeah,
I think he played 75% of the snaps last week or 80%, something like that. And he didn't have a single catch. So I'm not really sure what to make of Jack Besh. I mean, there was a lot of preseason hype, but so far it's amounted to literally nothing on the
yeah.
year. I think he has like 4 total catches. So, I mean, is he worth a stash? Maybe, but I would look elsewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's worth considering just because of the vibe that I think Jacoby Myers is gonna get traded. Um, that's really that's what it hinges on for me.
Sure.
I think there's a world where that happens. A very, very good possibility that happens because this whole like him having an injury thing, I don't think that's real, to be honest. We'll see though. All right. I'm just moving some guys around in my rankings a little bit. I don't know. I have Demario Douglas is super low in my rankings. I gotta move him up a little bit. All right. Where are we at here? Justin Kyle said started Book over Mason Taylor. I have Tez as backup if Igbuka's out. Um, man, I would much rather roll Mason Taylor out than Tez, and I have a feeling Ibuka's not going to play. Totally up to you, but I think I would roll out Mason Taylor, then take the chance of Igbuka not playing and having to put Tez out there. I think if Mike Evans plays, I think Tez becomes a very, very not great start because Tez is going to be a guy that's going to be that deep down the field threat, and Mike Evans is going to be the guy that's going to take a lot of that if he's active.
Yeah, I would be avoiding Tez. I know he had the big play last week, but with Evans coming back, I don't think Ibuka plays. I think this becomes more Rashad White, Mike Evans, K. Dotton and Sterling. To be honest, I would not be chasing the Tez points.
Yeah. Makes sense. KJ Frederick said Emmanuel Wilson, Henderson, RJ Harvey, or Sharps, full PPR start one. Well, I mean, Harvey and Emmanuel Wilson, you'll be able to make that decision because they're same game time slot. So he'll have the inactives and see if Josh Jacobs is playing. I'm not starting Wilson unless Jacobs is out. Um, I I would go Henderson here. It's going to suck if Jacobs is out because Wilson's going to be a much, much better play. But I would go with Henderson here, and I don't know if I would risk it. But yeah,
Yeah,
totally up to you.
that's the tough part is do you risk it? I mean, you're kind of stuck either way of having a backup in your best case scenario, but I would be tempted to go with Henderson as well. I mean, hopefully it gets better. This Patriots team continues to score points, so maybe they can find a way to get him a little bit more involved. But I totally understand that it's not been fun. Well, we've got Pete figuring out what tech's going on, so we'll
Sorry,
keep working through that.
my bad. I didn't mean to click.
So,
I clicked on you by accident.
um,
Sorry. Did you finish your point? My bad.
yeah, we're good. We can carry on.
Okay. Let's see where we at. Chris said 1 point PPR. DJ Moore, Chuba Hubbard. I have DJ Moore pretty decently low in my rankings. I'm at 37, but wide receiver 37 compared to like running back 30. I'd much rather go with the wide receiver there.
Yeah,
The drop off from wide receivers to running backs is much different. You talk about like say a wide receiver, like running back 20 compared to like wide receiver 20, big difference, right?
yeah. I
So
mean,
I
you'll
would
see
I would
guys
go with
sneak in
DJ.
there with like
What?
8 points.
Yeah, I mean like the running, like as you start to get low, like Travis Etienne's my RB 22. Like I mean, I don't love Etienne this week, but you can hope that he gets somewhere around 10 points. Where the receivers in that 20 range, like they're still like alphas on their team, like that. The volume could be there and they could have a big game. So I would go with DJ Moore. I don't know what your vibe is here, but I would roll out with DJ Moore.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's the exact same reason, and don't really know what the running back room in Carolina is going to be like today. I think they're going to be split. Rico's done enough to be involved, so I think he's going to continue to get the opportunity. DJ Moore, I'm with you in having him lower my rankings. I have him at 33. Now, that
Mm,
being said, again, I'd rather play the wide receiver 33 than the running back 30.
yeah. Okay. Justin Oliver said need a flex. Rico Dowdle, Keenan Allen, Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson. I like Rico this week. I love Tyler Warren. I think this is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
smash spot for him. I would go with Warren.
Oh, but Jake Ferguson, too.
Yeah,
That makes that a
Ferguson's
little tougher.
interesting. I I don't know. That game's gonna have such a high over under. I have Ferguson high in my rankings, but I still like Warren. I think this is a great spot for him. I could be swayed on Jake Ferguson for sure. Um, I have Ferguson a little lower in my rankings though. I have him as my tight end 12.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have him
Ooh.
behind Michael Mayer, Kate Otten, Mason Taylor, Goddard, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelsey, Laporta,
See,
Tucker,
you're predicting a
Kittle.
down week.
I just think with Lamb back, with Pickens and Lamb, I think he kind of falls to that third option. And I,
It's fair.
you know, I Ferguson's been great, and it's a great matchup. So like, I don't say that to be like, hey, like, like you should be worried about starting him. Like you should start him in many situations. I just love Tyler Warren here. I have him as my tight end 1 this week. I love him against the Chargers. I think it's a great spot for him.
That's fair.
Um, Kay just said any info on Mike Evans playing Monday. Want to throw him into my flex. I think Evans is going to play. He logged to full practice yesterday. I mean, there was a video of him like putting on the pads, like, and then didn't realize that he's like not supposed to, like, he's not practicing in pads today because I guess based on their rehab, like protocol or whatever. I don't think there's a world where they're going to tell him that he's not playing. So I would expect him to go.
It wasn't even that. It was everyone else wasn't wearing pads. He was the
Oh,
only
was
one
it?
out there that rolled out there in pads. So he got
I
his practices mixed up there. But yeah, he
I didn't
logged
even.
full game or full practice, so I expect him to play.
Yeah, Ibuka is a different. I hope as an Ibuka owner, I hope he sits. I don't. The re-injury risk sounds like it's pretty high from what I read. If he gives it a go this week, I don't think they should. I think you should sit. Hope selfishly, I think you should sit. Um, Better RB2 start Rico or Mason full PPR. I have Rico over Mason this week. Jordan Mason's a guy I've been trying to move off of and sell for a while now. He just doesn't have that receiving role. That Aaron Jones, like you would have thought, Matt, that with Aaron Jones out, like Mason's going to be like a bell cow, but it really hasn't been that.
Yeah.
Xavier Scott's been catching a lot of passes. And so I would roll with Rico here. I have concerns about Mason with Jalen Carter back, and it could be a little bit of a messy game on both sides. So I'm going with Rico in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean it's really close. I have these guys pretty close in my rankings. Let me flip over to them. I have Mason at 23 and Rico at 22. So
Mm,
I would go with Rico. I'm totally with you. He has no opportunity in the passing game. So that role I think remains cemented for Aaron Jones whenever he does eventually come back. So that's at least reassuring if you're someone that's stashing Aaron Jones on IR. But
yeah.
it's a tough matchup with the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a little pissed off too. I mean, things haven't gone their way, and a lot of people are talking about how they're not a good team, and they're a good team, and so I would expect them to come out firing against Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and keep in mind too. I mean, they were banged up against the Giants last week. I mean, no Quinyon Mitchell, no Lane Johnson, no Jalen Carter. So they were banged up. I have Rico as my RB13. I have him ahead of Devon A-Chain this week.
Oof.
Yeah, I have A-Chain at 14. Cleveland's defense been awesome. That weather in that game is going to be really bad. It could completely blow up in my face. I'm starting A-Chain if I have him, of course, but I'm not as high on A-Chain this week, just given their matchup.
He's my RB6, and I understand your reasoning why, but
Yeah.
it's Christian McCaffrey and it's A-Chain. Those are the two running backs that get an insane amount of passing volume. So if he catches seven balls out of the backfield, it doesn't even matter. It
Yeah.
really doesn't. He's just so involved.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. I think that's fair. Tree Hug and Hunter said need to flex ETN, K9, Evans, Shepard, Mooney, Pearsall, BTJ. Butte, Ferguson. He's got Warren starting. Was thinking Evans, Shepard, backup, and Ferguson as my flex. I'll let you answer this one first here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with for needing two flexes here. I'm gonna go with Etienne and or excuse me, Evans and Ferguson. Those would be my two flexes.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to decide here. Um, I don't have my DST rankings completely finalized because of injury reports, of course. But Rams and Jags going off soon. I kind of want to like make sure people know I have the Rams at 9, but I
Well,
also don't want to put the graphic back out there.
yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I'm curious for Tree Huggin. Does this mean that BTJ is not starting? Because now I see that I'd probably throw BTJ in. So these are all flex options: ETN, K9, Evans, Shepard, Mooney, Pearsall, BTJ. If that's the case, I'd probably start BTJ and Evans.
Yeah, me too. I would too.
I just realized that. Sorry.
Roll with the next question. I'm
Sure.
trying
Yeah.
to
You
get
take your
the
time and
top
we'll keep going.
here.
Siobhan says pick two running backs, 10-man full PPR. Rico, Bill, Mason, Harvey, or Marks. I got Rico and Bill in the lineup. That's the lineup I would go with, my friend. Give me Rico, give me Bill. Like we just talked about, Rico and Mason are kind of coin flips, and I lean Rico over Mason, so that's the route I would go. Harvey and Marks, great plays, but they're the backups. I'm not going to play with that. Bill has a big time matchup this week, so it's time for him to prove it. And if he doesn't do it this week, then I think we can start to really move him down in our rankings and not really consider him the starter or flex option that he is right now. But let's get to Dodger's question. It says start Drake May or Jalen Hurts. It's kind of crazy if you said that at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of people would question this, but it's a legitimate question. Now, that being said, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts over Drake May. I get it. May's got the good matchup against the Titans. Hurts taking on the Vikings. That defense has not been as good as it's been in the past. But that being said, I still think that with the Jalen Hurts tush push opportunity, you got to put him in your lineup. But we did get our first super chat, so I'm going to jump over to that, Pete, and you keep doing your thing, and then I'll throw it to you after I answer.
Yep.
Chief says start two full PPR: Adams, Judkins, Rome, and Nico. Some big time players for this start question here. I'm going to start Adams. I'm high on him. I'm imagining that Pete's going to say the same thing there. The tough question is, do you want to play Judkins? The weather is concerning in Cleveland. Maybe that leans to the run game, but at the same time, it could just be a low-scoring defensive battle. And then we also have, Rome taking on the Saints. Another opportunity for him, but weather in that game too. The wind looks like it's going to be pretty serious. And then we have Nico playing Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to go with Adams, and then my second start would probably be I'm going to go with Nico. I have Nico pretty high this week, and I know the Seattle defense has been stingy, and Pete might tell me that that's the wrong play, but I like him this week. I think Stroud, kind of coming off the rest, is going to have an opportunity to perform this week. But Pete, you ready to answer this one, or you need some more time?
I think Nico's a fine play. I'm gonna go with Judkins and Adams though. I have Adams at 3. I have Nico at 10. I have Judkins. I have Judkins at 7. With the weather being as bad as it is, I think they're going to run the rock a lot, and I think Miami is not going to be in a position where they're going to be running away with the game, which should be a good game script for Judkins. So I think you have great options here. Rome is the obvious sit for me out of these guys.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Nico if you go him over Judkins, but I'll take the bell cow and Judkins in a really strong matchup all day over a wide receiver in an offense that's been a little bit inconsistent, even though I have Nico pretty high.
Yeah, I have Judkins at 8, and I'm sitting here wondering if that's even like you're kind of convincing me now because this Miami defense has been terrible. They've given up so much on the run 2 weeks in a row. I'm concerned about that Cleveland Browns offense, but I'm gonna flip. I'll go Adams and Judkins with you. But I just know that I've voiced my concern. But Hoff, send us super chats. Good luck to everyone this week. Be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button so we've got a bunch of people here on YouTube. We've got more watching over on X. So if you want to come over to YouTube, hit that like button. It would help us out a ton. Let's see if we can get the likes up, and we will continue to carry on here. But I'll find where we left off. Pete, I don't know where we were.
Well,
Right
you
here, I
were,
think. Yeah, start
yeah,
one for flex. Tet,
yeah,
Waddle, Evans, or Fannin Jr. I'm going to go with Tet. I think he's the clear answer for me here.
me too. I like Fannin. I get the desire to want to play him. Actually, I didn't see Evans was in there. I would
Ooh.
go with if Evans is playing, I'd go with Evans. But I get it's scary to kind of hold out, but I think he's playing, so I'm gonna go with Evans. I have Evans pretty high in my rankings too. I have him in my top 10.
You have Evans in your top 10. I was about to ask. I have Tet in my top 10. That's the only reason
Really
I'm confident on Tet this week, man. I am. I don't think
interesting.
this Jets team is good. I think they're lost. Um, and I think it could be an ugly shootout of some bad football.
Yeah, I have Evans at 8. I have Ted at 17. Um, I think Tech could have a good game, but yeah, we'll see. But I mean, Detroit's secondary is so banged up that I that's why I like Evans so much. I know there's the risk that he doesn't play, but if you want to play it safe, Ted's definitely a good option as well. Bucky's out, Siobhan, yes. And Simon said pick 3, PPR, BTJ, Rashi, Rice, Judkins, JCM. Yeah, I mean it's Rice for me. It's Judkins, and it's between BTJ and JCM. BTJ kind of getting some momentum back. So I love that. I also love this matchup for Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I'm going to go with JCM here against Dallas just because they're down weapons. I'm hopeful that they get him more involved in the pass game in this one, but I'll go with JCM. Dallas is second fastest pace of play. I think they push the tempo here, and the Redskins or Commanders respond in that way. So I'll go with JCM over BTJ.
Yeah, it's close. You've got four good names here. I'm starting Judkins for sure. I would go. I want to play Bill, but I'm going to bench him. I'm going to play BTJ and Rice. I mean, I love Bill this week. I love the opportunity. I love the matchup, but I'm high on both BTJ and Rice this week, so I'm going to find a way to get them in my lineup.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Dynasty is my life. Said half point PPR, half point tight end premium start 2. Waddle, QJ, Boutte, Coker, Franklin. I got to start. I'm sorry, Wandale. I got to start QJ. I can't put everything that we've seen in the like Colts are down both their starting corners. Really they're 3 starting corners because there was a rookie on the team that was supposed to be the starter and the third guy, and he's out for the year. But QJ has been awesome. He didn't play last week, and so it gets forgotten about because Ladd looked great, and I love Ladd this week. But I'm starting QJ. The other one's kind of tough for me. I don't really love Wandale this week. I don't really love Boutte. Could consider Coker, but it would be between Coker and Wandale Robinson for me.
Yeah, I love Coker. I think he's got a great opportunity to be good, man. So I'm super excited to see what kind of involvement he can get. He's kind of been one of those forgotten guys since he's been hurt the whole year. That being said, I'm going to start Wandale because I want to see it first from Jalen Coker.
Me too.
At the end of the day, this Panthers offense is not enough for me to say, oh yeah, they can support 2 wide receivers and a run game. I just don't think they're to that point, and maybe they get there. I'm with you, Wandale. I'm not as high this week as we've been in the past, but I still think that he's out of necessity. Maybe he can avoid being matched up with Surtain. Now, that doesn't mean the Denver Broncos don't have a bunch of other corners because it feels like they have 30 that could start for my Washington Commanders, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, it could be tough sledding, but at least we know with Wandale we're going to get the volume. Will he
Yep.
do anything with it? Not sure, but Boutte's been up and down too. I mean, we've
Mhm.
seen him have these pop games and then he just disappears after. Darnold or Gino is pretty easy. I think we can go quick on this one. I think it's Darnold. He's been hot. You're
Yep.
not putting Gino out there with
No.
limited weapons.
Heck no.
Yeah. Michael said roster question because Ibuka is a game time. I may have to pivot on Monday and I have to drop one of these. Corum. I have Kyron K. Miller. I have Marks, Algier, and Isaiah Davis. Man, that's tough. I think I would probably still drop Kendre Miller because I don't think Kamara's going anywhere. As long as Kamara's there, Miller's not going to have a strong enough workload, in my opinion, to like to be startable. I also view it as even if I would rather have Corum if Kyron goes down than Miller if if Kamara goes down. I'd rather have the one thing you could say is Woody Marks, but I think Woody Marks can have standalone value and take over as a starter without an injury to Chubb. Algiers in an offense too, where you know I'd rather have him over Kendre if the starter goes down as well. And Isaiah Davis is interesting, but there's a world that Breece Hall gets traded, and he becomes a starter. I think he has the best chance to, become the starter out of Kendre and Corum, out of those three at least. Algier, yeah, whatever. I've kind
Yeah,
of ranted enough. You get it.
yeah, you're ranting. That's okay. I mean, I think you're right about Corum and Algier. They're the premium handcuffs. They're in the best offenses. I don't think Alvin gets traded, but I'm not 100% on that. I mean, I know they've said they have no intentions of trading him. That being said, Isaiah Davis is the name I would drop. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
not getting any opportunity right now at all. And, his percentage of snaps, 26%, 33%, 40%. But still, even with all those snaps, 1 carry, 2 carries. And it's not like he's done anything impressive with it. You're totally right. And if Hall gets moved, he could be a guy that steps into a bunch of opportunity. But there's also other names in this offense that I could see them saying, oh, we're going to keep him as the third down back, make him earn it because he's the young guy. And we play Khalil Herbert. And next thing you know, Herbert gets, 60% of the snaps. So I would drop Davis because even if he does become the guy, it's not a good offense. You can't trust Breece Hall like we think he is, and he's not even half the player Breece Hall is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Davis is my second guy for sure. If I wasn't, I still lean Miller, but I understand it. But yeah, Davis would be the second guy if not Miller. We do have another super chat from Jared Fortin. Appreciate it, man. Said thoughts on Cup Monday, Stingley on JSN. Yeah, I'm not really. Hold on, Matt. Give me 1 second.
Sure. Well, I mean, while we're there, I'm gonna say, Jared, thanks again for the super chat. But Cup on Monday, I'm not trying to throw Cup in my lineup if I can avoid it. I'd be interested to know if you have anyone else that you could play or you could start. I think that you could do worse than Cup, but at the same time, I don't have him very high. I'm trying to see where I have him. I have him at 40 in my rankings, so I'm curious to see where Pete has him. But I don't love the matchup. I don't love the opportunity. I think that Sam Darnold's playing really good right now, but he's spreading the ball out. JSN is getting a ton, so I would be avoiding him if possible. But that's just me, Pete. I'm curious, where do you have Cooper Kupp in your rankings?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Yeah. For some reason, my connection looks like it's kind of spotty. Yeah. I mean, Cooper Kupp, I have him at 43.
Yeah. See, we're close.
The Stingley thing is interesting. Yeah. I mean, the Stingley thing is interesting. Kupp's not getting enough volume for me to feel confident against the secondary to start him, to be honest with you. I mean, he's had 2 games over 5 targets. The highest fantasy finish was last week, and he had 10 points in standard. Sorry, that's not PPR. Sorry. So 16 points was the highest in week 2. Either way, I mean, he gets his first touchdown last week. I don't feel confident enough to roll out Cooper Kupp in my lineup at all. I had to be really, really desperate.
Again, let us know if you have other options, Jared, because I'd be really curious to see who's available there.
Yeah. Kenny said start Hawkinson or Gadsden from the Chargers. I'm still going with Hawkinson. I know that the workload looked nice for Gadsden, and he's getting some steam, and it's nothing to take away from him. But and Hawkinson hasn't been good either, so I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you on that. But I have Gadsden at 24. I have Hawkinson at 21. Yeah, I would start Hawkinson.
Yeah, I would start Hawkinson as well. I actually feel better about Hawkinson this week. I have him at 13, and that might be just wishful thinking, but I kind of feel like he's going to bounce back this week. I love Aronde Gadsden. He was one of my top 7 tight ends rolling into this draft, this past draft season. I've got him up there too, but I don't have him that high. So I would roll with Hawkinson here. But there's better days ahead for Gadsden, man. I mean, he's been involved, he's getting the opportunity, and he's dominating that tight end room right now.
Yeah, Hawkinson is like I mean, I've tried to get him into my lineup a lot of spots. I just feel like we're kind of wish casting with him. Of like just the name value and what he's done and is it going to happen? And it just hasn't. So it's just I don't know. I would love to have him higher. I had him as a buy a couple weeks ago, and it just I don't know what's going on there, man. I mean, maybe he's a buy in dynasty because of his age,
I
still
think
solid.
so. He's 28, but at the same time, the big issue
Tight
for
end.
me is just the quarterback play. I mean,
Yeah,
he's dealing with Carson Wentz. Last year, he was tied in 27 or 34, excuse me. And if you look at that, you think, oh, well, he was bad. Well, he only played in 8 games or something like that. So I like Hawkinson, to be honest. So um,
yeah,
I would be buying if I could get him cheap. You could do
I would too.
worse.
Yeah, I think I would too in Dynasty. Let's try to catch up here in a couple of questions. Again, if you guys want, send a super chat in. It can just be $2, a buck, whatever. We'll get to it. Joe said, pick 3: Vidal, Charbonnet, Walker, Dowdle, Dobbins. I have Jacobs, but questionable. Yeah, I'm going with Dowdle and Dobbins for sure. And then I would go with. I mean, it's really close between Walker and Vidal. I'm pretty low on both of them this week. I have Vidal at 26. I have Kenneth Walker at 28. I would go with Kamani Vidal over Walker and Charbonnet. That Houston defense is giving up 12 points a game to running backs this year, and he's in a split timeshare with Charbs. So I would roll with Vidal, but I don't like either guy.
Yeah, I would go with the same group, but I'm higher on Vidal than you are. I think I have him at 23 on the week. I think he's still going to get the opportunity. I think playing this Colts team, I could see them making it a game, kind of having a back and forth. They're susceptible through the air. I think less so on the ground. He's a better pass catcher than Haskins. I totally am with you that Haskins is still going to get opportunity. He's Harbaugh's man. These guys are going to split carries, but I just like the opportunity for Vidal through the air.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fredo, what's up, man? Super chat, $5. Appreciate it. Said for higher upside in PPR, who would be the best option, Whittington or Atwell? And which DST should I pick up ahead of week 8 streaming? I have the Broncos. Yeah, I know Tutu Atwell. It's easy to just sit here and say Atwell high upside because he could take a ball 70 yards. And like, sure, he's a better athlete. That's the only case I can make for upside for him is just that he's the better athlete and he can take a ball 90 yards. I'm still going with Whittington. I think he has a better chance to be involved in this offense. I think he fits well with what they want to do. And I think again, the only reason I could say upside for Atwell is just because he's fast. That's literally it. Feels like the most lazy analysis ever. That's it. He has more speed than Whittington, so his upside's higher. He's not going to have more targets than Whittington, in my opinion. He's not going to have more volume. It's just about the breakaway speed. That's really about it. So I would go with Whittington still here.
Yeah, it's the breakaway speed for Atwell. It's totally correct. I mean, he's the guy that can stretch the field, and that might be limited a little bit to the weather there. I mean, it's not the best situation there for Atwell. He could get the catch, he could get the miss and just draw the PI, and that's kind of his role. So I would rather play Whittington. I think he fits more in that Puka role, the guy that they're going to use across the middle of the field, kind of a bigger body. So I like Whittington personally over Atwell. I get it. If that was a desperation play or maybe a DFS lineup, absolutely throw Atwell out there. And if he hits the big play, it's huge for you.
Yeah, as for the streaming option here, I think Bucks are a good option. They're not going to be probably heavily owned. They're going against Detroit this week. Many people are probably not holding them. They play the Saints next week. Saints have not really given up a ton of points to opposing defenses, but I still like the Bucks defense. They've been really, really solid this year. So that's an option. And then I'd say the Colts against the Titans, but there's a good chance they're probably rostered, but they play the Chargers this week. So good chance people probably dropped them because they're not really big fans of the Colts. So I would just say those two for now. I can't really give out many others because I haven't really dug into it. Maybe the Falcons against Miami next week. They're home. But those would be the options I would start taking a look at if I were you. Let's plant some trees. Hit that like button. Appreciate it, man. And we'll get to his question first since he said that. Travis Hunter, Charbonnet, Mason Taylor, Jennings, DJ Moore, Chuba Hubbard. I'm playing Rico too. Need one wide receiver, 2 flex, PPR. Yeah, I mean, I would go with DJ Moore. I would go with Mason Taylor, and I would go with Jawan Jennings. That would be my role out there. I'm not going to put Travis Hunter out. And look, if I miss the Hunter game, fine, but I still need to see it. And I would go with Jennings. I've seen him do it before. So I'm going with Jennings, DJ, and Mason Taylor.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm the same order. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. We're gonna go down to the bottom and just because we're kind of behind here, we'll get the JT's question, and then if you are here, just resend in your question, and we're gonna start from he's sent in the super chat, and then any of the questions that come in behind that, we'll start going from there. Half point PPR pick 2: Coker, Goddard, Whittington, Luke McCaffrey, or Chris Moore. I'm going with Goddard. I have Goddard pretty high in my rankings this week, and I'll go with Jordan Whittington. If it was Jalen Lane, I'd maybe consider because it's half point. And I think he could score a touchdown today. But like you said with Coker, need to see it first. And I like Whittington a lot this week, so I'll go with those two guys.
Yeah, I hate to be boring. That's the same picks I would make. I love my Manders, but at the same time, I'm not going to play Luke McCaffrey. Chris Moore is interesting just from a volume standpoint, but I don't think it amounts to anything that's going to, move the needle for me. So I'd play Whittington. I'd play Goddard. I like Goddard this week as well.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan said, "Is Bill Krosky merit a good start today? 10-man PPR." And then his other part of the question was, in my 20-man, should I start Matthew Golden, Luke McCaffrey as my wide receiver 2? Also Rashad White or Alvin Kamara in the flex. I'm flexing White, and I'm putting out Golden over Luke McCaffrey.
100%. That's absolutely what I would do.
Yeah.
Golden's been good.
And we both like Bill a lot this week. I have him as a top 12 play. I think you have him pretty high too.
I do.
So yeah, I can't make an argument. If he doesn't have a good week, like
it's a prove it week, man. He's got a perfect matchup. Wide receivers are destroyed right now, so hopefully he gets 25 carries, to be honest.
Yeah. Chris Rodriguez is off the injury report, which maybe gives me a little bit of concern that maybe they get him in a little bit more. But we'll see. Dodrick PP said, "Would you start Mason Taylor or Fannin this week? Only concern is weather for Fannin." I'm starting Mason Taylor over Fannin.
Yeah, I hate the weather because I had Fannin high earlier in the week, but I've moved him a little bit down just because of the weather. And I would start Mason Taylor out of necessity in that Jets lineup. I mean, someone has to catch the ball. So
yeah,
while he eats,
could be Josh Reynolds.
Could be Josh Reynolds, sure. I just think that Mason Taylor, he's an interesting play. I mean, he's getting better as the season's gone on. You could say the same thing about Fannin, so I wouldn't fight you there if you wanted to make that point. But we did get super chat, so I'm going to jump it over to Kenny. It says Rico or Jameson. Problem is I have Evans and currently have Williamson on the bench in case Evans doesn't play.
You go first.
I would play Rico over Jameson Williams. I think they're similar for different reasons. I mean, they're both kind of a little bit bets. I mean, Jameson could win you the week. Rico could win you the week. We've seen that the past 2 weeks. They both could hurt you today with Chuba coming back, or just Jameson just doesn't get that long touchdown. Rico's a safer play. I think he has the higher floor, but I think he has a similar upside, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think Rico's floor is safer. So I think you get similar upside with a better floor with Rico. I would go with Rico too. And Kenny, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Kenny.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We're up to Iggy.
Yep.
PPR pick 2. Sorry, you didn't say pick 2. PPR Scat, Carter, Henderson, Denver D scares me. Yeah, Denver's defense scares me too. It's Scat. I have him at 25 this week. I have Henderson at 30. I think you go with Scat just for the volume here, and you just hold your nose and just hope that it happens. Dre Greenlaw is back this week, so that's all. That Denver defense has been great, and he's not even been there. Their linebackers have been terrible, and they've still been awesome. So I still think you go with Scat just on the volume alone.
Totally right. I mean, it's just so much opportunity for Scat. You can't not play him.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Oh, said Devonta Evans. I'm going with Evans. I'm not gonna big brain this. If Evans is
Yep.
playing, he's going up against a beat up secondary.
Yep, Evans.
Marks or Pollard, kind of gross. Got to be honest with you. I have Pollard pretty low in my rankings. I'm at 29. I have Woody Marks at 37. I would go with Pollard still. And again, same thing. Hold my nose and just hope that these are two guys that are probably going to be in split roles, Tajay Spears and then Nick Chubb. But I would go with Pollard.
I would go with Pollard as well. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's gross. So plug your nose.
Yeah. It's Brendan said Golden, Quentin Johnston, Boutte, Tet, McMillan need 2 full PPR. Yeah, I'm going with QJ and I'm going with Tet here. Third option would be Golden. Boutte would be my fourth guy. But again, QJ, I can't just forget. It's easy to forget because he didn't play last week, but he's just been so good. Like I feel like you kind of got to run him out there.
And the opportunity, man, I know we've said it a couple times on this show, but this is the week. The Colts secondary is beat up. So I think that the Chargers are going to feast. Great week for Justin Herbert. Great week for QJ. Great week for Ladd. I like the pass catchers in this game. So I would go with the same group. QJ, Tet, Golden would be my third. Boutte, fun story, but you can't trust him.
Like we said, he's had these pop weeks and then he's just fizzled out before a ton of times. Brandon said if Jacobs is out, Emmanuel Wilson, Troy Franklin. I'm not even going to finish reading. It's Emmanuel Wilson. That's who you go with. Yeah. Jared said to expand on the super chat. I have Waddle with the weather. Wilson if Jacobs is out. Jennings or Vidal split worries me.
Oof. That's.
Emmanuel Wilson.
Am I crazy to say you go with Jacobs and then if he doesn't play, you just throw in
I
Wilson?
think that's right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
I mean, I get it. You could miss out on Waddle or Jennings or any of these other guys, but I would just roll with whichever one's going to play Monday night.
I'm with you too. Corey Jones said need 1 PPR, Mason, Taylor, Otten, Schultz. I have Mason, Taylor, and Otten pretty close. I'm definitely not starting Schultz out of these 3. I have Mason Taylor at 9. I have Cade Otten at 10. I would go with Mason Taylor. The only thing that concerns me is Taylor's offense. Like we've seen so many times with Otten, when these guys are down, like they just feed him. Had the highest target share last week, ran the most routes for all the wide receivers. And he's got Baker Mayfield as opposed to Taylor, who's got Justin Fields. We just got to hope that Fields doesn't throw up on himself. Otten feels safer with similar upside. Taylor has a higher ceiling, but still, I can't sit here and tell you that that's a safe play either.
Yeah, spot on. Totally agree, Pete. I would go with Otten, but I mean, either way, you're kind of it's one half dozen of the other. But I like Otten just slightly, but I have him back to back in my rankings. So.
Yeah, I have Otten in a lot of DFS. Matt Stifler said, think Jacobs will play, thinking of taking the risk instead of starting Genty over him. I'm getting the vibe that Jacobs isn't going to play. I could be completely wrong, and I've been wrong before, but I'm getting the feeling that Jacobs is not going to play. So I would start Genty, but you could take if Emmanuel Wilson is available, I'd rather hold out and wait. But I'm pretty sure Jacobs plays before Genty. Well, no, that game's a
so Genty plays at 12, so he's at the 1 o'clock window, and then Jacobs, I said Monday night a minute ago, but he plays at the 4:25 window.
Yeah, that's tough.
So I'm kind of with you. The vibes with Josh Jacob are weird right now. I just like not necessarily his play, but his injury. It just kind of feels like they're not telling the full story. So I'm with you in this. They might rest him. They're taking on the Cardinals. Maybe they can rest him and not necessarily need him. So I would probably play Genty just because I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm actually I keep talking about Manuel Wilson so much, and I'm sitting here thinking like, let me see if there's any last second leagues I can add him.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
have him in one of my main redraft leagues. I've got Josh Jacobs, and I was able to pick up Emmanuel Wilson off up in the first 5 minutes of our show here. So, it's concerning if he's out there. He needs to be rostered, just because we don't know the extent of this injury. If it lingers on, Emmanuel Wilson becomes a huge play going forward because this Packers offense is good and they can run the ball.
I'm with you. Yeah. Well, you roll with the next question real
Sure.
quick. Let me just check this.
While Pete gets his lineup, let's answer another one here. Rashad White or Javonte Williams, 10-man PPR. As much as I love Rashad White this week, just because of the opportunity, I'm playing Javonte Williams. You can't put him on the bench. He's been too good. Washington's front seven, I know a lot of metrics would say that they're pretty good, but they're not. They've been gashed several times. DeAndre Swift did it just this past Monday night. So I'm going to play Javonte Williams comfortably. I think he's the play. Pete, I saw you shake your head, so I imagine you're going with the same answer. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah. I would
Um,
too.
Vinny says Fannin, AJ Brown, or Waddle in the flex. That's crazy that here we are. We're sitting, questioning, do you play AJ Brown? And I get it. He's been disappointing. That being said, I'm going to play AJ Brown. I have him as my wide receiver 18 on the week, so I would roll with him over the likes of Waddle and Fannin. Just chase that wide receiver upside like we talked about earlier. Also adds, do we want to play Pacheco or Hubbard? That one's tougher, to be honest, because Pacheco looked better this past week, but it's still been inconsistent. Chuba Hubbard's coming back from injury. How much opportunity does he really get? I have him back to back in my rankings at Pacheco at 30 and Hubbard at 31. So I'm going to go with Pacheco, but I don't feel great about either one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going with Pacheco. I have him at I have him at 20 this week.
Ooh.
I have Hubbard at 32. I just think that he's starting to look better and better. He's getting more involved,
He
and
is.
the offense looks good. So I'll go with him in a game that I think they'll be ahead.
I totally get it. I totally get it. Well, let's carry on. This is Amazon Pancakes. What impact do you think Jennings and Kittle coming back this week has on Bourne, knowing that Bourne seems to be the favorite target the past few weeks? I mean, it certainly matters. The more pass catchers out there are going to impact him. Jennings, he's been banged up all year. Kittle is the biggest one to me. I think he's a playmaker and someone that they're going to want to get involved to get this offense rolling. So I think it does impact him. And, Pete mentioned it earlier. As we move forward through the season with Pearsall and Ayuk, Bourne is going to be one of those guys that will get relegated out of the whole group. So,
Yeah.
His weeks are numbered in a sense.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you there. London game just started. Let's wrap up here, but we'll grab these last few questions. We'll go through them quickly. We'll pass it off. You answer, I answer. Aiden said Colts defense, but Eagles are available. Do I pivot? Yes, I would roll with the Eagles. I move them up. I move the Colts down with their corners out. And Eagles look like they're getting healthy on defense. So I would go with the Eagles. Matt, flex Keenan Allen or Woody Marks, half point PPR.
Keenan Allen, I mean, I've mentioned the matchup with the Colts, and then on top of that, we've talked several times about the running back 30 is way different than the wide receiver 30. So play the wide receiver here.
Yeah. Kevin said trade Josh Allen and Evans for Amon-Ra and Herbert. It's interesting. I would say it's close to a wash. I would be fine taking Amon-Ra and Herbert, but the only thing that concerns me is Herbert's environment around him is kind of crumbling a little bit with his O-line, and they could be trending down. So I think I would still go with Josh Allen and Evans over Amon-Ra and Herbert, but I think it's pretty close. Do you want to pitch in here?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is it just kind of where do you want to put the risk? Do you want the risk at wide receiver or do you want the risk at quarterback? If your wide receiver room's pretty stable, I would be willing to, play with Evans. If I needed more stability, give me Amon-Ra and then Herbert over Allen.
Okay. White or Bill Krosky merit from Kevin?
Bill. Same thing I said for the last one about Bill versus White. The opportunity, it's the week. He's got to prove it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. QJ or McMillan? I'm going to go with McMillan. Ryan said, I lost Debo for my flex spot this week. Now I'm going to get options. I have Luke McCaffrey, Chris Moore, Trey Tucker, Alec Manor, Jalen Lane, Sterling Shepard, 12-man PPR. I like Shepard if Ibuka doesn't play, but you're holding out a lot for that. I think Chris Moore is a safe play if you're looking for the safe play. I think Jalen Lane's the ceiling play. So that's kind of how I would go. I would go Moore for safe play, Jalen Lane for ceiling play, and then Sterling Shepard somewhere in the middle. But you're gonna have to. You're not gonna want to start him if Ibuka and Evans are going.
Yep.
Matt said, where would you rank Wilson if Jacobs is out? What do you think, Matt?
17 to 20, somewhere around there, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's
Matchup's
fair.
pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Tommy said Worthy or Addison full PPR. I feel like Addison's going to feast on the Eagles cornerback too. I'm still going with Xavier Worthy. I like Addison, but I'm going to go with Worthy. Tucker or Bourne, Matt, half point PPR.
Bourne. I don't trust the Raiders.
Yeah. Jared said drop Henderson or Vidal for Emmanuel Wilson. I would drop Vidal. I think Hampton's coming back soon, and I don't know how long that's going to last with Vidal. I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah, you're not crazy, not for this reason, but I mean, if you need a win this week, pick up Wilson. If you don't, if you're not going to play this guy, then I'm sticking with Vidal because Hampton still has 2 more weeks on IR, right?
Yeah, he's got about 2.
And that's at a minimum, so he could be gone more.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Full PPR, Moose Swift, blah, blah. For Quentin Johnston, that's fine. Good move. Yeah, I think that's fine. Flex 1, Chubb, Marks, Golden. I'm going to flex Golden. And then Bryce Young, Darnold, or Jones. I think you're going with Darnold.
Yep.
Vinny said Jordan Mason or Ferguson in the flex.
Ferguson.
Okay. McMahon Stevens said start AJ Brown or Tet. I'm starting Tet. Ryan said, do you like J.K. Dobbins and Rico as good starts? I think Rico is a better start. I think Broncos are down on their left guard, and I think the front for the Giants has looked solid lately. I like Rico more than I like Dobbins. Any Jacoby Myers news? Not yet. I don't think he's going to play. James Forkin said, what time is definitive defensive rankings coming out today? I'm going to drop those right around 12 o'clock. So probably about 30 minutes after the injury reports come out. Matt Colby said DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers.
DJ Moore.
Okay. Keenan, Jacoby, Swift, Rico, Wilson. I'm starting Rico. And then I would go with Keenan. But I would like Wilson over Keenan if you're willing to take the risk there. Jared said, good morning, guys. Who do I sit? Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Xavier Worthy. I'm sitting Keenan. I don't know about you here.
Yeah, I'm sitting Keenan as well.
Yeah. Sosa said Keenan, Jacoby, Swift, Rico, Wilson, full PPR. I feel like we might have answered this. We didn't. Maybe we didn't. I'd go with Rico though, and I would go with Keenan unless Jacoby's playing, and I would go with Wilson over all those guys with Rico if Jacobs is out.
Swift is interesting though, man. I get it was last week. It was inflated, so I totally understand.
Yeah. Let's see. We have 3 more, and then we're getting out of here. Hey, guys, PPR, start 2, Olave, QJ Addison, Mike Evans. Yeah, I'm starting Evans, and I'm starting Olave. QJ would be the other guy if you don't want to start one of those 2.
Yep, that's exactly what I would do.
Okay. Goldman said, what's a good pivot off of Green Bay DST? It's hard to say. If Bears are available, I would say Bears, and I'm mentioning them just because there's a solid shot they are. And if not, the Panthers are interesting as well. Half PPR flex 1, AJ Brown, Monty, Pittman, or Kamara, Matt?
AJ Brown. I know it's been ugly, but
okay. Danzel Barrett said Judkins, JCM, Rico, Warren, Kittle need 2 running backs and a tight end. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting Warren. So it's pretty much you're benching one guy here. Actually 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. Judkins, JCM. Okay. Yeah, I'm going with Judkins and I'm going with Ja'Cory. And then I'm going Warren, and I will flex Rico. I want to see it with Kittle before I feel that confident about him.
Same for me. Yeah, same for me.
Okay. Jerry said Ertz or Sutton. I'm going with Sutton. I like Ertz this week, though, a lot. Dominic said Kendrick Bourne or Lil Jordan Humphries. I'm going with Kendrick Bourne. I don't think Lil Jordan Humphries is a guy I'm
No,
comfortable rolling
no.
out there against Denver. Prefer Chicago D over Panthers. D need to stream one today. I do prefer Chicago over Panthers. And then Worthy or Bourne. I think I'll say Worthy. I would assume you're probably in the same boat there.
I would go with Worthy too.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, hopefully next week we'll go a little bit longer. We just hit about the hour mark. I will drop my updated defense rankings around 12 o'clock, Eastern time. I'll make sure to post it here on YouTube as well. Make sure you follow Matt at the FF Meteors as well. He'll post his rankings. And if you're not in our Discord already, make sure you do so. Good luck with your matchups, and we'll see you guys next time.